and welcome to our show, Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and look out, world! Like I said, we not only have one superstar guest, two, we have three special VIP guests today on the show. It's a blockbuster. We have Bryan Soroka and Gary Phillips from Anime Village Incorporated Company. They're game developers, but so much more. And then we have, and welcome back to our wonderful and creative Shawn Landrum, who now is venturing into film and TV distribution. And he's a wonderful screenwriter and producer. So let's give a super warm welcome to all three of you. Hey, gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good,
Hey,
thank you.
Jay, good to see you.
Thank you.
So good to see all of you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to do round robin, and we're going to start with you, Bryan.
Sure.
I'm going to go to each of you and ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and for your fans and the public out there, what your company does and what is the passion in your heart. Take it away, Bryan.
Sure. So just to give you a little background on myself, I'm Bryan Soroka, and you spelled my last, or you pronounced my last name correctly, which is always good. Very rarely happens. So just to give you a little bit of background on myself, way back in the day, started off as a copywriter in the advertising and marketing industry. The one thing that I always loved is writing, whether it's stories. That started off in comic books. I picked up my first book when I was like 6 years old, Daredevil number 156. And from that moment, I've been hooked. First movie I ever saw was Jaws. I was 4 years old. My father saw it fit to sit me in the theater and watch that, but I wasn't horrified. I was mesmerized. So that all turned out good. And from those moments, it was just, writing scripts, comic book character creation, film scripts, that sort of thing. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago with Gary that we created Anime Village that I was able to marry my profession with my passion. And that came in the form of, you mentioned games, and games certainly play a part of it, but Anime Village is quite a bit more than just games. That plays part of the product mix. And we came up with, and the best way to explain it is a process that we call REPS, which is an acronym that stands for read, explore, play, stream. So when we have the read portion, that comes in the form of manga. And we use our manga as a marketing tool to build an audience that leads us into the explore phase of the reps process, which comes in the form of games. And then we have play, which are more advanced games. And then finally, we have stream. So it's at once a product release schedule, a brand building, and a community exercise. So that's who we are in a nutshell. And we're currently in the process with Adamanto, which is our shonen title. The first chapter, which is available on various platforms like VoiceMe, Global Comics, and others. And I'm not sure, Gary, what we're approaching, but I know we're well over 100,000 reads for that one. And we have a playable demo for Adamanto Unleashed, which is mobile and also platform. And then finally, like I said, the last part is stream, but you can't stream or create an anime series until you have a large enough audience.
Amazing, amazing. And so really this is based on manga, which is, where does it come from? Where is it based?
The Anime Village?
Yeah.
Gary's in Indiana and I'm here in Toronto. I'm the lone Canuck on this podcast.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so this is quite fascinating. For all the game players out there, this is you've created something that is very popular. Anime is extremely popular in the industry, and there's so many people that love it and they fall in love with the characters and the stories and the plots. So I'm just super excited for you, and I hope that one day you get into product as well. So we can talk about that in a little bit, right? But
yes, there's another arm to what we're doing that comes in the form of creator empowerment and merchandising and all of that wonderful stuff. But I tend to ramble when I get on to talking about this stuff. So let's let the other guys chime in as well.
You did great. You did great. Okay, I'm going to switch it over now to Shawn Landrum, producer, writer, screenwriter, and he has incredible news. It's breaking here, basically. I think this is on my podcast show. He's going to talk about it, maybe for the first time. I'm super thrilled for him, and congratulations, Shawn. You're getting into the film and TV distribution world. So tell us how that happened and what's going on. Fill us in.
Yeah, no, no. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, no. Let's see where to start. Geez. Well, first off, shout out to Gutter Punch. That's our collaborative company. We're doing comic books, animation series, graphic novels. So we have over 170 artists, and we have a very cool structure in place for payments. So we'll talk about that more later. More of the fun stuff. Yeah, I got a distribution company, Shawn Landrum Films and Distribution. We're doing all forms of streaming platforms, SVOD, AVOD. So yeah, we got some good projects coming out. I believe we're set for mid-January. Condor, which is a West African project, near and dear to my heart. I'm executive producer on. Yes, so we completed that, and we're actually working on the dubbing to English right now because it's in French. However, during that process, we're going to go ahead and release the French version with subtitles. So that's exciting. We got Stories of the Soul. That's a project near and dear to the heart as well. I'm executive producer on. We've finished that, wrapped that up. That's going to be out around January, February timeframe as well. So be on the lookout for that. See, distribution. Yes, man, I'm trying to open the floodgates here. So yeah, it's different. I've been in the film industry. I know how you can get taken advantage of if you're not looking at that paperwork right. And it's about time for us creatives to get back into the business end of things anyway. So we got to make it happen, and this is the way to make it happen. So once you got your investors in line and you got your distribution in line, it makes things a ton easier. So yeah, we can definitely talk more about that.
Okay, wonderful. Congratulations. And so, if people are interested, can they reach out to you, Shawn Landrum? Do you have a website or on Facebook, or how would you like to be reached, Shawn?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. That'd probably be the best way. You can also email me. My email address is ShawnLandrumFilms@gmail.com. That's Shawn Landrum Films at gmail.com. Yeah, yeah. If you got a project that's ready to move forward, or you're looking for funding, investments, you need to get a movie magic budget done. You need, from top to bottom, story Bibles. We take care of it. And then, we get the funds, we get it filmed, and we get it out for distribution. And once we've got this business model in place, we can just rinse and repeat. So yeah, very excited about that.
Super excited, and me too. And also, it's show business. There's business in it as well as the show. So thank you, Shawn, for that. And I hope a lot of people reach out to you for that. And Gary Phillips, who's also from Anime Village, and I think it's is it my Anime Village on Instagram, and that's your Instagram handle.
Yes.
And then also your website is animevillage.com. And Gary, let's hear
Well,
from
it's myAnimeVillage.com. There you go.
my. Okay, thank you. And then Gary, let's hear from you. You are the CEO, and Brian is the founder. So take it away. Tell us about you and cool graphic you've got on screen. So over to you, Gary.
Oh, thank you. Brian and I founded the company, like Brian alluded to earlier, 4 years ago. Both of us have an affinity for anime and games, and we were working on a previous project, and it just kind of naturally evolved from there. I have 4 children. He's got 2 children, or 3 children. Our kids are all anime gaming fans, and it really led us down the path of doing something unique. And the uniqueness was, as Brian was talking about, was reps. Because we not only create the stories, how do you take the story and carry that story throughout the entirety of the life cycle of a product? And my background is business. I've been in the financial world for a long time. I've worked in a lot of different industries. This is my seventh company. So I've been an entrepreneur over and over again, sold three or four and into that process of growth. So for me, this was more of a strategy and strategic a plan to implement and put together, whereas Brian's was more on the creative and the writing side. My old company I had, we made video games. We created a lot of products. So from a writing standpoint, Brian takes that, runs with those, character development, and then we have a team that works with us on the gaming side, and then process will eventually get to that anime and creating the animation, things like that. That's our goal, is to really drive that business that direction. With Shawn, um, we had met via LinkedIn and so forth and other things. We live basically 15 minutes from each other, small world, and we met a few times, talked about it, and it's the same thing. We gutter punched, which is .com is what Shawn was alluding to before. And our goal with that is to really take creators who don't really know how to get into the industry, and those that typically get in the industry get taken advantage of. Well, this process we're developing this company is to really hold the hand of creators through a process of bringing their stories to life with protecting their IP, understanding all the traps are out there, all the landmines are out there, and how to avoid them through the process of working with us. So a lot of great stuff happening right now for us.
This is amazing. Congratulations, Gary and Brian and Shawn. And I do want to ask you, how do you safeguard IP? Because intellectual property, which is IP, I'm sure our audience knows what that is. It's it's what you create yourself, and that's your own copyright, that's your own story. How do you safeguard? And those are the ones that get sold, like the original stories, like The Wizard of Oz and Wicked. Those are really popular. So, of course, the studios love that because that's guaranteed blockbuster money and ticket sales. So, Gary, how do you and Brian safeguard IP? I mean, you don't have to give everything away, but are there legalities and paperwork that how do you watch out for people?
No, always. You're looking at copyright to go through that process. And then you also have a slippery slope called AI, which is coming into play, which with AI, you really can't copyright what you're doing. So for us, it's about the originality of creating, and the writers and professional artists that we can bring together to build this for creators. So definitely want to go through the process of copywriting. The other part is looking at utilizing some of those really good pieces and parts of blockchain, which is using the blockchain to drop your stuff out there and protecting it out there as well. And that leads it again back to getting it professionally copyrighted as well, because you need to have that legal part of it. Just because you're on a blockchain doesn't mean you have a copyright protection for it. You still need to go through the process of that.
Okay, so yeah, so there's a lot to it, and it's a process, and legality, which is nice. But I love your concept and how you're supporting the creatives. It's really needed and again, your website is myanimeVillage.com. There's been a lot of people that have gone through the creative process and have been taken advantage of. So I'm really happy to have you on here, as you're kind of like the good guys. Do you know what I mean? You're like the squad, that comes in to protect, the entertainment, people. So I just appreciate you and your thought, Gary, and having seven businesses, the drill, what's out there, what is needed. So this is a fabulous concept. And I want to go over to Brian and talk about, how do you make, it's a team, right, of developers that you have and creative. Are you with them helping the storyboards and characters? Talk to us about that.
Well, it's a bit of a different process that we're taking, in that we actually don't create storyboards. These are storyboards, because our games aren't just inspired by the manga. It's actually a retelling of the manga. And also, it's a way to even expand upon the lore that we've introduced, which is a novel concept. I've never heard it being done like that in gaming. You always hear there's either a comic book or there's a manga series that has inspired this game. So it's based on or inspired on. That's the kind of vernacular that they like to use. In our case, it's a retelling of the manga, but just in a different environment. And as we get on to the P portion of reps, the play portion, where it's going to be a AA title, the lore is going to be expanded upon even more, introducing new characters, getting more into their backstories, and so on and so forth, because it's a great medium to do that. So really, I mean, the gist of it is taking the manga, which is the basis that introduces those other levels and environments of storytelling. And just to give you an example of how it really works, it's very efficient. And it's unique at the same time because, like I said, we use storyboards for the manga to use for the games, and we also pull all the content from the manga and populate the games with it. So Adamanto, again, as an example, we've written almost 5 volumes of the manga, so that's over 700 pages of content that we can pull from, right? So it really expedites the production process, right? We can, obviously you have to reformat the scripts and so on and so forth for the gaming environments, but it's not starting from scratch. All the characters, all their backstories, there's over, last time I counted, there's over 300 recurring characters in all 5 volumes of the manga. So, and we just rinse and repeat with the other titles that we have. The next one is a supernatural title, which is called Undead Reckoning, which is my homage to John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Excuse me. And we have 1 volume written for that one, and that's 220 pages. So you can see how the content, you know, we have an influx of this content that we can just pull from and repurpose for these different products.
So are you allowed to repurpose without getting any, asking for permissions? Yes.
Well, they're all our original characters and stories. So
Okay.
the only person I have to ask is myself.
Okay, perfect. Then that's it, because you own it all. All right.
I was about to add that exact thing. The other thing was to add to it, AJ, what Brian's talking about. When you take the script from the manga to the game, when you expand on the script, you're actually creating the footprint that you're going to start working from to expand into the animated series. So it really is a process of, it just evolves as you're going. So you're adding new characters, you're adding backstories that you typically wouldn't have in the manga into the game, and those all automatically flow right into the animation itself and animes.
Wonderful. Okay. So manga, for everybody out there, I know you all know it, but manga is Japanese comic books, while anime is Japanese animation. Just want to make that differentiation. Different, the different meanings of it. Now, Shawn, are you writing some of these? Is that how you're collaborating a little bit? Do you have are you working with the writing section on the manga? Tell us how you are, or are you involved, or tell us about it.
Yes. So, go ahead. Do you have something you want to say?
No, just was clearing my throat.
Oh, okay. So, I'm sorry. What was the question?
The question is Gary and Brian, did they have you on the writing team? Because you're an excellent writer and producer. And are they taking the full benefit of, this opportunity working with you and your ideas? Has that come up, or am I just brainstorming it right now? Or tell us.
Nah.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in quickly.
You're right on the money with it. You're right on the money. So, we have we've come together and created a company called Gutter Punch. We're all co-founders of. In that, I'll be lending expertise in writing, storytelling, as well as getting everything together from beginning to end. We want to make sure everything we put out there is A1 quality, unlike anything else. And with our combined anime knowledge, we've got probably over 500 animes just in our brains right now. So we're really aware of different powers, different situations, and all that to make the people that come to us their projects stand out. And that's the big thing with the IP. You want that originality. You don't want to be, you don't want another Wolverine. You don't want another Captain America. You don't want another Goku. You don't want another Naruto. You don't want none of that. You want something new that somebody can cling on to. And that's what we're building here. Like I said, from the comic books to the animation series. I'm also bringing lines over. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be a part of it. And that's really exciting. We're going to get the comic book done first. And then, once we get the ground game down, then we're going to start on the animation side. So, yeah. So we are collaborating within Gutter Punch. And yeah, we're looking to take that worldwide.
Fabulous. And then how can your distribution company come into play with it, Shawn?
Lines right up. That's what I'm saying. You got the comic book or your manga or your graphic novel. Then you got your animation series, so we can help you with. And we got the distribution, to get it on, the pay-per-clicks or, like I was talking about the other options that are out there. It's no longer the day where, my stuff is on, Hulu and I can't move it or do anything else with it. There's several streaming platforms you can do at the same time simultaneously. So, it's all about how you structure the deal. And yeah. So, yeah, like I said, we're looking to bring on more projects. We're really excited about it, and we're ready to hit the ground running.
This is fabulous. I love hearing and talking about this. And your villains are very cool. You've got titans, demons, mech warriors, dragons, and witches. Um, so, what new worlds are you bringing to life? Can you give us a sneak peek of what you've got in store? You're talking about diversification, and I love that. Different new characters, not ones that we've seen before, Shawn, like you said, but interesting, fascinating. Always make it fascinating, and new and unique characters. So, who wants to share a little bit about the creative side on that? Do you have any ideas you can sneak peek with us?
Sure. I'll use Adamanto as an example because I've always been a fan of mashups when it comes to storytelling. So you have one kind of prevailing genre, and then you can kind of branch out into different subgenres that influence the storytelling. So Adamanto you can call it a shonen action title first, but there's also elements of comedy, fantasy, mysticism, action. It's all over the place. It's really, aside from the book that I wrote several years ago, it's the first time that I've ever written something where I had no handcuffs, no chains. It was just do exactly what you want to do, how you want to do it, which was absolutely liberating. It was just, just that creative process was just unlike anything I've ever experienced before. So I've always been, our main protagonist is Shinichi Tanzo. He's actually pictured there, window over there. That's the main character from Adamanto. And it's 12th century Japan, and we really tell the tale of the Emoto clan, who is led by Lord Kami, and he's trying to take everything over. But I've always been a big fan of escalation as well. So what we have is in volume 1, it's more kind of like how Marvel would say, kind of like a street level kind of approach to storytelling, where you have the threat level is still, it's still there, but it's not anything like on a cosmic level. And then we just keep ratcheting it up until in volume 5, Shinichi and his pals have to go face Izanami, who is the purveyor of the underworld. But like you said, we have the Mahujin, which is a group of mages. And the other thing I should say is that we've always been a big fan of historical fiction. So we intermingle existing characters with original characters. So in Adamanto, you'll have characters like Oda Nobunaga, who was a famous warlord. He was actually in the 16th century, but we bring him back into the 12th century, creative license there. We have Merlin. We have other characters pulled from Japanese lore. and we kind of retrofit them around what we're doing. But to your point, Adamanto has pretty much every kind of character that you want to have into it, but it follows that hierarchy of threat levels until we, Volume 4 is actually the Olympian gods, but we use gods that aren't exactly well known, and then we get to the ultimate threat level, which is 5.
Amazing. So I love this. So there's a hierarchy and a whole story with this, and it sounds so fascinating. Thank you for that, Brian. And Gary, I wanted to ask you, what sets you apart from other companies, other anime game developers? And then I have a few other questions. Take it away first. Go ahead.
I think for most of the companies focus on one dimension. So if you're a developer of games, you're going to focus on the IP only from the standpoint of creating a game. You're not really creating an anime from it, or you're not really creating a manga from it. And as Brian mentioned earlier, you're really looking at the IP. People will license the IP. So you'll have one group that will take and create the manga. Another group will take and license and create a game, and multiple games. So not just a single one. It could be on PlayStation. It could be on Steam. It could be a lot of different platforms in mobile. Then you'll have another group that will license it to create an anime from it. Then eventually somebody will license it and maybe create a live action. So you have all different groups that take an IP and they'll take their own interpretation of what they believe it to be. So the consistency a lot of times doesn't gel. You can see that when they did Dragon Ball Z and made it live action. Uh, that was so bad. It was terrible. You bet. Wouldn't even get into how bad that was. But that's what happens when you take something where people don't understand the lore, don't understand the value of all of the fan base that's behind it and supporting it, and ignoring it by saying, I know better than you do. Well, the fans are the ones spending the money, right? They're the ones that spend the money to go out to it. If you're not getting anybody watching it, you're going to be the greatest film that's never seen. So the goal here is that you always have to understand what your audience is, and you got to understand when you create something, make sure it's always marketable. Because if you create a great story that's not marketable, it's going nowhere. No one's going to buy the merchandise. No one's going to buy the products. And that's my business hat put on there. It always makes Brian laugh. But you have to look at it from that perspective. If you create a character that's likable, create a character that's marketable, create a character that's not likable, not marketable, guess what? You're not going to sell any product. So
Yeah.
for us, we look at our stories the same way. As we're going to collaboration of collaborating on a story, we'll collaborate and look at every one of the process that we're going down, the paths of each one's backgrounds and so forth. And we'll say, okay, is this a background that we think that we can take something from and build from? And it's really a collaboration as you go through. There's all kinds of ideas that we throw back. And it's not just a single genre. Really, we've got 7 of our own titles, almost 8 of our own titles that we're working on. And they're from slice of life. They're from comedy. They're from shonen. They're from supernatural. So it's not just one area we look at. We really look at all of them across the board and how that fits in the fan base.
I should also mention another cool wrinkle is the titles are all related. So for no Semi, who's the great, I had another couple of great grandson of Abe no Semi, who's the master mage in Adamanto, who also reappears in Undead Reckoning as a reanimated Corgi. So there's all of these interrelated kind of characters or themes or artifacts that run through these titles that take place at different times.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
leg
yeah,
I'm sorry, it's a legacy, and that has fans invested. That's what they want, and they want relationships that are interesting to them and
exactly.
that they identify with. So really sounds like you've got such great ideas. I love that. I did want to, because I was going to ask you, what does it take to make an anime game and a team of developers? So how many developers do you have, and are you hiring?
Well, all of our development, we outsource the game part of it. Our focus is on the IP. So we focus on creating the stories, creating the lore, creating the character development, all the backgrounds, all the information we need to one, create the manga. We use that as again, as Brian talked about reps, that's our very first phase of it. It's building the foundation for the IP, all the characters and everything moving forward. So it has something solid to stand on. Um, with the game development, it makes no sense for us to hire a bunch of game developers that we'll be going up and down between doing things that are mobile, doing things that might be only for PlayStation, items that might only go on a Switch. So a little bit of different development through the process of developing in different platforms. So for us, it's better to go out and find teams that do that and then hire them to build specifically to those areas.
I mean,
And
that's
then,
really
yeah,
smart. It's independent contractors. I mean, that's the way to go.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing with you get into the anime. When you get into creating our first anime from all our stories we're developing, we'll do the exact same thing. We won't want to hire a bench because for us, we have to spend all that money holding a bench and maintaining that bench. And there's so many ups and downs to the process of development that you're never going to be able to find the same. And you really don't want, for me, if I'm going to have somebody that's doing full on action game, I don't want them creating a game that's maybe a tune-based game, like a Beat Saber or something like that. That's not the same type of environment, right? You want somebody who understands that to do this particular one, and you want somebody who's focused on that area to do that particular one. So I think that's our advantage is being agile, is that we focus on our core competencies, creating the IP, owning the IP, and then be able to go out and find the sources we need to develop what we need to develop.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. You have such a good business plan and business model. And you have the experience behind it, Gary and Brian and Shawn, to do so well. I did want to ask Shawn, Brian touched on historical fiction, but I wanted to ask Shawn for your future ideas of a social message. How are you going to change the world with what you write in these collaborations with Gary and Brian? What are your messages, your social messages going to be impacting the world? Can you share a little bit? And if you can't, and if that's too secret, can you at least give us some of your philosophy from your heart about what's important to you on your heart for a social message to the world?
A good question. Yeah, I think any and everything I do, I put a little of my heart into. So yeah, you'll always have that character who's conscious. You'll always have that situation that occurs normally that you can take the blue pill or the red pill. And I try to guide people to the right message. As best I can. I've done scripts for everything under the sun, man. And I've always found a way to put a message, even if it's a message within the message. Um, it's definitely about changing the world, how we see things, how we view things. Um, you know, it gets frustrating to think about. You got people that are starving, and you got billion-dollar planes and all this other stuff going on. And, it's just, without getting into it all in depth, yes, in everything I touch, I choose to make it a better project via following my heart, and my guidance throughout my life and what, my stories and situations have been. You don't think, when you watch a movie or even an animated series, you don't think that this stuff like really happens, but these obstacles, and everything in between, and it's about coming out stronger. It's about keeping your mental even when you're going through tough stuff, and we've all been there, man. Good God, it's the little things, when you got a breather for a second and your bills are paid, you got some food in the fridge, kids are good, everybody doesn't get that breather. So, it's about that mental. It's about pushing forward. It's about knowing that, God's got a plan for you, and, you're here because you're here for a reason, man. And, rather than just sit around and let your days pass you by, let's get out and make some change. And that's what I'm about. Rather we're in the school systems that we just did with a great company called 16 Tech. I had Orlando Jones come out, speak to the kids. Robert Richard spoke to the kids. Fredro Starr came out, spoke to the kids. It was a great event. We got another one coming up with Step It Up. Great brother of mine, Michael runs. Where they're actually in the prisons. They're in the prison systems, educating people and helping them with transition. So when they come out, they got steady work, and they're not falling back into the same traps that, got them there in the first place. Not all these people are terrible. Some people just got caught up in this fucking system.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, but this is a pathway out of that obscurity and into something positive to where you can come home and still be that superhero to your kids and so forth, even though you paid your debt to society. It's so without getting into that, we got that coming up. My brother Kareem Grimes is going to be talking to him. Omar Gooden is going to stop by and speak with him. So yeah, just again, I'm about getting in the community, man.
And Shawn,
His
yeah,
lives and changing people in the institutions and regular people, man. You got
yeah.
80-year-old people that still want to be in movies. We gotta let that happen. So I'm all about that.
Absolutely. Go
Can I
ahead,
add to that?
Gary. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was gonna say one thing I love about Shawn's writing and what he does is it's not something it forces. When he brings something like this, it's natural into the storytelling. So you can feel it when you read something like that. The problem with we have in most of these stories is that it's forced. They're creating characters, taking a character, changing a character to fit a narrative, or changing a story to fit a narrative when the narrative doesn't fit the story. What they need to do is they got to create the story based on that narrative. So as you're creating it through, it's natural. It seems like, yes, this is plausible. Yes, this could happen. Because what they do now is they just want to say, oh, this character needs to be this type of character. Well, let's make him that character. Well, there's no story to that character. Why did that character all of a sudden become that character that way? It makes no sense. So they lose the fan base again because they're not really following a process of helping people understand why, right? Why did you do that? So Sean's stories, what I love about him is that you see it, you feel it, and you believe it. So once you do that, you're going to get behind it. And I think that's what they're missing now. That's why you see a lot of the comic books right now not doing well because they just don't understand that. They've lost that way. And I know Brian and I talk about this for hours,
Don't
and
get
it
me
just drives us insane.
Absolutely. In any storyline, for lessons to be shared and understood, the characters have to go through challenges and sometimes heartbreak and really some kind of rough adventures. So, and that's how people learn, isn't it? I mean, that's how it's got to be relatable. And then so you have to have those villains, you have to have those mean and nasty guys, right? Still in the storyline. And then you have the ones that continue on and and survive because they're good and they're protected. I love what you said, Gary, and I love what you said, Shawn. Really beautiful message and from the heart. And I agree. Shawn's message is from his heart. He speaks from such a great place. His heart is in such a nice, wonderful place. Always has been, always will be. And it's about helping people. And so thank you for what you're doing in the community, Shawn, and helping. And yes, everybody deserves a second chance because none of us are perfect. Um, but what do you want to know? I'm sorry, what do you want people to know about anime? Is there anyone that wants to share what they want people to know and learn about anime? Because it's a huge fan base, and especially, I mean, all types of people, all age groups love it, and there are fans. So jump on in and tell us what people need to know about anime.
Anime is amazing. Don't wait till the real film gets made in the movies to catch on to it. You get a find out what you like. Whatever you're into, there's an anime for it, and they got their fan base and they make films, and you can find them at AMC and other movie theaters. For special events. So this all happens before the movie's made, so when you see a big film like Spider-Man, Spider-Man's got a fan base, so it's the same thing with us. We're making the comics, we're structuring them right, we're making sure that you have the driver's seat first and foremost. You don't have to go through a lot of corporate titles to get anything moving or done once you made a deal. It's us, and we're here to help. So that would be the big thing. Find an anime if your kids like comics, if you like comics, if your kids like anime, they got a favorite one they watch on Netflix or Hulu. Uh, Join in with them, watch it, see what's so exciting about that because there are things, and we're just now getting into that film and that realm of things. So um, yeah, this is groundbreaking right here. So
You guys
Gutter
are your
Punch
own.
is the name of it. So yeah, let's yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Gutter Punch is it. Everyone remember that. Gutter Punch. And you're so right, Shawn. It's really exciting and fun, and it's something you can do with your children and or
It is.
grandchildren or nieces and nephews. And I want to ask you, do any of you gentlemen have favorites anime characters that you want to share with us?
Oof. I gotta say, it's kind of commingling my love for superheroes. So I'd go with and the anime first season Fantastic dumpster fire, but that has nothing to do with the actual story. That has to do with money, timing, ownership, and then just a whole confluence of events that went into it. And you can just see that it's just kind of like now it's just being produced as an IP, right? I kind of hate that term IP because they're stories, right? They're characters. And then IP is more of kind of like a business term that you attach to it. But I would have to say the first season of One Punch was an anime, and then the third season is an IP. So that's kind of like the distinction there. And also Chainsaw Man. I'm a
True.
big fan of that one.
Oh God, where to begin? I mean, Naruto is probably the one that gets me the most because it really it helps people get through challenges. There's a lot of kids that have difficulty out there, and they watch anime and they can relate to the challenges that's in front of a person. So Naruto, you see the challenge being outcasted from young all the way through the process of becoming the new leader of his clan. So then having children go through the process there, you see. I think a lot of people what anime does very well is that it it gets people to relate to it. It finds that one is it's good storytelling. It's always been a thing. And there are kind of like Brian hit it once they get to the point so big, sometimes the storytelling becomes second nature to the actual making of money. But most of them have very, very good. I remember Simone Biles, the Olympic gymnast, talked about she likes watching My Hero Academia because she gets that enthusiasm, gets that encouragement and that backing from watching the chief protagonist go through all the challenges. So I know people do the same thing. You see Bolt, you see some of the newest runners out there, Olympic runners. They like One Piece, they like this, they like all these different things. All the sports figures, even in today in the NBA, they have their favorite characters out there, and a lot of times it's Naruto and characters like that, or Goku from Dragon Ball. And you can see how they relate to those characters and how that it affects their everyday life. They wear clothing like it, they dress like it during Halloween, they dress their kids up like it. Funny thing is, my family, I have four kids, and all of us talk about anime and mangas between each other. We buy books, we switch transfer back and forth. We're saying watching Chainsaw Man this week. Demon Slayer just came out. We watched that one. And we were One Punch Man, and I agree with Brian on his take on that. But everything we're watching, and then there's other obscure ones we're watching that we'll talk about and say, hey, have you watched that one yet? No, you should watch it because it's really cool because of what they have to go through and stuff like that, life lessons and stuff. So to me, I love just the actual genre and all the different mediums that you can see anime in. And we have so many books and so many characters and so many of the merchandise.
That's what
Um, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely, but that's the reason why again why Anime Village was started because our love of it and our affection for it. Then Gutter Punch, which is Gutter Punched with the ed on end of it.com, we created that with Shawn and a few other people to really do that for other creators, people who wanted to bring something to market, wanted to take a story they wanted to tell, but don't know how to do it. Come there, help. We could help them bring that story to life and help them manage their IP, help them develop it. And it's 100% creator owned. So they create their IP, they own it. We just help them manage it and support them through the entire process. And I think that's our love for that takes us down that good, as you stated, the good guy realm of making sure we're backing people, watching out for people, and saying, you don't want to do that. They're going to take advantage of you. And Sean could probably talk about more because he's been more in the publishing or the side of where you get into production, producing, and things of that nature, where it's even more cutthroat than it is in the comic and manga industry.
Yeah, definitely. Shawn, do you want to take it away? Your favorite and maybe some experience that you've been through? Share away.
Yeah. All right. So there's a ton of animes. I was actually just looking through my Hulu account. I've watched like 42 on there, and then like so anyway, just to kind of piggyback on what my man was saying about Naruto, there's actually a character on there that people don't actually really know about. Like people that are really interested in Naruto, it's like impossible not to know the character. But I find a lot of people kind of glance over him. But his name's Rock Lee, and he's probably one of my favorite characters of all time. This dude, he's in a ninja clan, and everybody has ninja powers except him. He doesn't have any talent. He can't fight. He walked in not being able to do anything, and he became one of the baddest characters in the thing. Like his mentor goes toe to toe with the most powerful being in the show. So his potential is what comes out. From the first moment you meet him. You know what I mean, when they're doing the ninja class rankings or whatever. And you meet this character. He's coming out. He's already defending people against three stronger people. And he barely knows them, but it's his heart, and it really speaks to me, man. So Rock Lee, I even play a game called Clash Royale, and my name is Rock Lee 6G Joy, which is Sixth Gate Joy, which is one of his fighting styles.
That's
So
great.
yeah,
And he
that's
remains
my
one of
man.
the nicest guys on there too. He
Yeah,
doesn't become this attitude. He doesn't become arrogant or this. He becomes just the nicest guy he still continues to be. Doesn't change who he is, even though he becomes one of the most powerful ones out there. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
I love that.
Yeah, if you get a chance, watch Attack on Titan. Uh,
That's good too.
you're welcome. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. And Shawn, can you share a little bit about what Gary mentioned about you've been through some Hollywood experience and production experience and anything you want to share?
Man, all positive, bro. I'd never speak negatively. All my interactions end on a good note, no matter what it is. So yeah, if you let people take advantage of you, they will. You know what I mean? If you get yourself surrounded by the right people that want to see you succeed, get bigger, then that's where you'll grow, and then you got the other route. You got a good product that's making money, and you're not getting, you're getting a check every few months for a couple dollars. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's all about, like I said, IP. Owning your stuff, having those rights, having people that are like Gutter Punch. Like we're here to walk you through those steps to get it to where it needs to be. If you want to go through the comic book angle, we can go through the comic book angle. If you want to go graphic novel, we can do that. If you want to make an anime, or hey, man, you got a novel, you want to make a serious film, we can even help you with that. But again, it's about surrounding yourself with the right people. It's just like as you grow in life, you got friends that fall by the wayside, and things of that nature. It's nothing bad. It's not because they're bad people or you're a bad person. It's just growth, man. And that's where we're trying to get to in this industry is growth. All right, we've done the sucker stuff, right? We've been taken advantage of. We've seen that happen throughout our lives, right? So the change happens now, and that's what Gutter Punch is here for. From A to B to C to D to Z. We're trying to be a one stop shop for everything you need. And once you're comfortable there and you're making money, you're making progress, and you can see your magazines and your animations being completed. It's an amazing thing. And another way that we help is, you don't have to pay for everything up front, right? We've got monthly plans. So, if you got a little money this month, you want to get a page of your comic book done, you can do that. There's many ways of getting things done without having $10,000, $50,000 up front to put on a wish and dream. When you got kids at home that need to eat, it's just insane to gamble like that if you ain't got that money. So yeah, we want this to be home for people, and that's what we're shooting for.
I love this so much. I'm super excited. So it's gutterpunch.com and
Punch,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
gutter punched, ed.
Oh, Gutter Punched. Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you. Here, gutterpunched.com and then myanimevillage.com. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
That
I
is
got
correct. Thank you.
I got that one right. Okay. Um, I so appreciate all of you, and I have learned so much today and enjoyed talking with you. So, and we're gonna have to start wrapping this show up soon. But I wanted to ask you, is there anything else that you want to share? Any other message, or your heart message? I know you've talked so much wonderfully already. And I love everything that you've said, but if you want to share a heart message or a shout out to someone or thank you. And so we're going to go around if that's okay and mention anything that you want, thank yous or acknowledgments or anything like that. And I just love what you're doing. It's going to be so successful and it already is. And you're absolutely wonderful gentlemen and you're going to do so great. And I'm so proud of you. And just keep going and making the good out there because we need you. And that's important in this world. And it means a lot to me and a lot of good people. Okay, so let's start with Brian. Brian, take it away. So happy that we got to meet. Thank you. Go ahead.
oh, thank you. I guess I just want to add maybe the whole supporting the creative side of things, in that there's so much gatekeeping and there's so much, I mean, especially in the North American comic book market that's going on now, where I've connected with so many creators that I grew up reading, right? So I'm geeking out when I'm speaking to these guys and I hear their stories where they're still so incredibly passionate about creating, books, whether they're writers, whether they're artists, and they've just become so flummoxed by the direction of the industry, whether it's because they can't tell the stories that they want to tell or they're not getting the remuneration that they need to continue. So that was the birth of Gutter Punch, right? So it's just, I think it's just so incredible that we can, start building this platform and support these artists and they can get recognized both, from a fan base and monetarily to what they deserve. And it'll make the industry great again because we're in a really bad place when it comes to North American books. And we want to bring those, 70s, 80s, and 90s kind of era feel and passion and love for everything back to the forefront.
I love that so much. And that's my heart sentiment too. And that's why you're going to do so well because we need a return to that, don't we, Brian? And I love your words and what you shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Um, Shawn, take it away. Over to you.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. Um, as far as what I got going on, that's a lot, right? So I have Landrum and Spears LLC. That's a company I co-founded alongside Ari Spears. We're bringing a lot of heavy comedy content to the world, so very excited about that. I have a nonprofit called Hearts and Minds. The website's heartsminds.org. Again, that's hearts with an S, minds with an S.org. You can go there and see some, I think we got like 5 or 6 film trailers for documentaries that we're doing on the site now. So you can go check that out. I'm proud to announce we have Landrum Visionaries, which is a film festival. We're in our first year. The international response has been amazing. We've got so many talented scripts and films and TV series that have come through there that we're going to be changing some lives there. That's going to be next September when I think it's September 4th. I think I kind of played with fours on that whole thing. But that's my thing. But yeah, we got that going on. The nonprofit, I co-found that with Dion Richmond from Cosby Show. You guys remember him? Great brother. You know, we got a lot of stuff going on there. Other than that, man, I got a ton of films in prep and some in different stages. Some are done, completed, ready to go. Some are filming right now. Some are, just got the investors on board. So it's so exciting, And for example, for the West African film, me and another investor handled that. Like, when you talk about owning something, it's totally different ball game, man. So definitely own your stuff. That's where it's at. But yeah, I got all that going on. We're gonna be doing some stuff at Ball State. Um, really great kids out there. I'm also going to be doing some stuff with HBCUs around the country. So we're going to do like some 1-day film school stuff and get some shorts made and get some
Very
exciting
cool.
stuff going. So tons of stuff in the works, man. And I'm just grinding. That's what I do, and yeah, that's what we'll do at Gutter Punch. So yeah, I got that's all I got going on, I think, man. And as soon as I stop talking, I'll remember like 12 more things. But yeah,
Wow.
that's it. Yeah.
Well, Shawn, congratulations. That's a lot. And then my question is, are you going to have a podcast section or a web series in your film festival? And if can I enter? That's what my question. Or is it just going
Funny
to
you mentioned that, because you mentioned that. Yes, I will, and yes, you were in First Century for absolutely free for making me think of that. So thank you. And
There you
yes, we
go.
will.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Collaboration.
Awesome. I can't wait. I'm going to submit this. I'm going to submit this. I hope it's not too biased. I'm going to submit this show.
Awesome. Hey,
Nah.
love it. Love it. Love it. I,
So
I
maybe
won't think, I won't grade that any differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you so much, Shawn. And Gary, over to you.
Yeah. Well, first, Sean's rocking those sunglasses. So, yeah, two things. One, so if you're going through plugging things, obviously MiamiVillage.com, you can see some of the things we're working on. Brian and I've got a lot of titles. We have other titles we're working on too that we haven't put up there yet because we've got to focus on a few things we have. We're bringing those titles all onto Gutter Punch. So when you go to gutterpunch.com, you'll see 7 of the titles out there that we're going to slowly start bringing to our funding process we're going to put in place, and then slowly bring the artist on. And we're using our systems, and Sean's going to bring some of his on as well, that we're going to build the whole infrastructure around. So that'll be a good way for us to test and build before bringing on other people's on the outside. Two, I got a new coffee brand called snobbycoffee.com. It's a bespoke, really custom coffees, so it's a little more expensive, but it's out in the marketplace. Plug that. Then eventually, my goal is, at least, once we start getting some of our products in anime, is doing some anime covers and stuff on our coffee and doing some specific ones specific for that. Then eventually be cool to have that coffee brand in the actual manga itself, which would be kind of cool. Now there's stuff we'll get down the line too. But then on a serious note, right now the gaming industry is getting pounded as far as layoffs, and people are, you're feeling across the board. Now with AI coming on board, people are getting being pushed out by that. Some people are hiring. Go on LinkedIn. If you're not out there already, you better be out there, because there's so many good people out there that all they do is focus on helping people that have been displaced or lost their jobs find new jobs in the gaming industry. And this is on a global basis for remote, and some of them that are gaming studios that are looking to hire now. There are quite a few good people out there. They can DM, connect with us on there. You can look at us on LinkedIn, find us out there on our Anime Village one or mine. DM me. I will get you connected with the right people that'll help you look for a job or help you find what you need to do and how you need to go through the process of building that resume and all the different things out there to support you. There's some great people out there. That's all they do, is focus on helping people find their next great job in the gaming industry. So that's this stuff I want to put out there. And hopefully that'll help some people that are feeling that crunch right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gary. That was wonderful. And I've enjoyed this so much. I have one more question before I wrap the show. Are you guys going to Comic-Con conventions? Are you going to rent a booth and so people can meet you and get more information about your projects and things like that?
The plan was the plan was to do that, but things got in the way, and then also with what we were doing, actually building the stories with this year. But the plan is to attend next year.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Sorry you
that's
cut
the
out. Go
plan.
ahead. Go ahead, Gary. Sorry.
Yeah, Brian was cutting out a little bit, but that's the plan. Originally, we were going to do one this year, but I think we're going to be looking at going in either in 2026 or good 2027 be the first year we start looking at some of those. We're also looking at Gen Con and some of the other big anime conventions that are all over the place and throughout just North America to start with. And we'll be looking at those too and doing booths and getting the stories out. But first things first, we want to get a little further along on some of the things we're doing, and then we'll introduce those into it. We may do that via sponsorship first, then eventually go into the full booth mode and having a booth and start building that fan base more and more and more. So yes, we'll be looking at very strategic how we launch it.
Yay, beautiful. I'm so excited for you. And super thrilled and so happy and celebrating you. Go ahead, Shawn.
Oh yeah, one more thing. I would just like to say that me and my son a couple years ago went to our first Comic Con together, and we went and played in a Smash Brothers tournament. It's probably like 100 people, right? They're bringing out Transformer joysticks, like stuff I've never seen before, right? And me and him made it all the way to the semifinals before we got spanked. But I do want to give a shout out to him because at Ball State, he's made the first ever varsity Smash Brothers team for the school. So very proud of him for that. He's an amazing kid, continues to do amazing things. I didn't give him a heart situation yet. So my heart thing to everyone out there right now that's going through it, you know, and I know it's a lot of them. And man, like F word, like if I wasn't on this podcast, right? Ugh, man, like I feel you more than you know, and my message is that you're going through one season of your life, and it's hard to imagine that it's anything else besides what's going on right now in the situation you're in right now, and you know, fucking rents due, man. You know, you've been to rent court like 7 times this year. You know what I mean? Your electricity bills $2,000, and then it's like, oh shit, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know, keep the faith. Keep the faith. Don't stop believing in God. You're here for a reason. You're going through this because you got change in your life. You know, you'll see, you know, like I said, friends start disappearing, like all this crazy stuff will be going on in your life, and you're like, what's going on? Like, why is this such an interruption in what's a normal scheduled, you know, performance of Wednesday night, right? But it's for a reason. God's pushing you to a different season, right? You know, I had the janitorial company, man, and the 9 to 5 and making good money. And goddamn, I got kicked my ass all the way back down to the start. But I'm here right now talking to you. So when I say I've been there, I've been there. And don't lose the faith. That's my message.
Oh, that is so wonderful and beautiful. Thank you, Shawn. We all needed to hear that, and your message resonates so much with everyone, and it's so timely. Thank you for that. And Brian and Gary, do you want to share your heart message?
Gary?
Well, I mean, I covered mine, I think, in the gaming industry, but I think in general, everything right now. I think the time going on, where we're at, there's a lot of stuff. And I think we need to all take a step back and take a deep breath and not be so politically motivated in how we are and start thinking, you know, remember family is family. You know, we just had Thanksgiving and I hear these horror stories where people don't even get together now because their political views have gone so awry. And we've got to stop this. We need to get past the where things have gone from anger and hostility to peace and tranquility. And it's ridiculous that people can't get along on the simplest things. They just want to argue about stuff. And I hope we can get past that. And I think that, it just drives me insane. So to me, it's just, I think, like Shawn said, it's a part of your life. It's just a simple, you've got some road construction. You got to take an off ramp. You got to get back on back on it again. You just got to figure out where that ramp is back on. And once you get back on, it's great. But don't forget about the people along the way, and just discard them. It's very key.
Lift up, lift up.
Lift up. I love it. Thank you, Gary. And so amazing. And Brian?
I guess my heart message goes out to the creators again, just saying that we're bringing the fun and the fairness back into the industry. So if you're aspiring, if you're established, you've been put off by the way things have been going on, where politics entered the fray again into storytelling. It's really kind of injecting that passion back into this because we love this shit. I mean, that's why we do it, right? We've been kicked around too. We're struggling to get things done as well. But when you love something, as we truly do, you can not only feel it in what we're producing, but it's also spurring us to succeed. So we want to succeed for us and for everyone else out there, and to really kind of bring things back to what it's supposed to be. We want to, create something where people can have fun, smile, sit back, relax, and just enjoy themselves.
Amen. Right on. I love all of those sentiments and words of wisdom. And I want to thank you, Brian, and you, Shawn, and you, Gary, for such an outstanding show. I know a lot of people are going to enjoy your show, and I'm super excited to share the link with everybody and distribute it myself on my own distribution company myself. And so anyway, you're welcome to share the link wherever you would like as well, on your website or wherever, with your aunt or uncle or whoever. Okay, well, until next time, thank you all. And until we see each other again, many blessings. Happy holidays to all of you. And we hope to see you again. Take care for now.
Thanks,
Happy
AJ.
holidays.
Happy
Thanks.
holidays. Thank you.
Thanks, AJ.